All right, let's do live on a First Friday edition of Cleveland Browns Daily. Merely Beau and the Great Z. How you doing, buddy? Did you stay warm?
Yeah, absolutely. Had a nice night back at Spoto's with some of the fellas. A little Keno for Gibbe and some wings. It was a glorious night. Watched some association. I haven't seen much of the association. Got to watch a little Steph Curry last night. He still can play a little bit. Clay still can play.
LeBron's 37. He can still play.
He was pretty darn good. Yeah, it was Lakers, Nets.
Lakers, Nets
and
last
then
night
I believe
as well.
Warriors, Mavericks.
You were in the late window. I was in the early window.
Yeah,
the late window had no chance for me, but we did see a little in the early window. That was very, very good. Let me ask both of you this. Is there it is so cold now, obviously, the air temp. Although the sun's out, so I don't even care. But, I mean, the actual air temp is really, really cold. The coldest we've had. Yeah. Is there a radio-appropriate finish to it's as cold as – because there's a lot of it's as hot as that actually – and a lot of the ones that you finish the sentence it's as cold as actually aren't cold at all.
Right. In fact, it's often many of the same words. It's the same words that are used, hot as or cold as.
But in the hot, they actually make sense. In the cold, they don't.
Although you could make the case that in one of those that we can't say, obviously, on the radio, that one of those, while it is hot, it actually is cold, hence why they are outside the rest of you.
Fine. That's fine. Gibby, you got anything for it's as cold as?
That's next level right there.
It really was. Private school education.
I have a lot. None of it's arable.
None of it's arable. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, my dad had one.
It was pretty brutal this morning at 7 a.m. to take the dogs outside.
I don't even notice anymore. I don't care. I walk out barefoot. I don't care.
I don't care as long as it's sunny. I really don't care. I'll take 5 and snow and sun over gray and 22 all day.
Same.
All day.
Same.
I have no problem. That's fine. I know it was in the brochure. I'll sign it.
I'm ready for some of these snow mountains to be gone, though, like the parking lot, plow mountains.
Buckle in, buddy. It's going to be a while.
Yeah,
forever.
I think we will have a better chance of being in shorts before that pile is gone.
What do you think the date is? Should we do an over/under right now?
Which pile?
On the date that the snow piles are melted?
Sure.
Now, is it all the snow piles, or is it?
Yeah, I mean, I think the day that the snow is gone in the parking lot.
I'm going to go with next Wednesday.
All of it? I know it's going to be like 50 next Wednesday, but
it's supposed to rain.
That's
what you need.
Those are mountains. Well, you're right. You certainly know your meteorology. I just don't know if that's enough.
March 21st.
He helped me with the kickoff temp. March 21st. Come on, man.
I'm going to set the over/under on this at March 2nd.
All right, I'll take
that. All the snow is gone.
I'm going to take the
now.
under.
It can come back.
Well, right.
But this snow gone.
This snow.
And all of it. I mean, that's piled snow. That's not just surface snow.
But what happens if it snows a lot this weekend and adds to that pile?
Well, that's all part of it. That's why I went in March for the over/under.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's a long – I think we haven't had this much sustained snow since I've lived up here.
No.
I mean, we haven't. I haven't seen anything like this. Like, I mean, I'm talking about 2 feet of snow just on the ground, more than 2 feet of snow in the yard. Like, we haven't had that.
It's got to be so heavy on, like, decks and stuff.
I don't know. You get stone decks, stone patios, those things. Stones can take a lot.
No, I got wood.
That stone just
Sorry for your loss.
Hold everything.
Nothing's lost yet. It's still there.
Yeah, you're safe.
Wonder if I should shovel it off of there.
You could. Be careful with the concrete, though, because then if you shovel some of concrete, you have to shovel all of the concrete. Otherwise, it'll crack. So you got to be careful with that.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
Don't do that. Yeah. All of it or none of it.
Tip for the day.
There's your tip.
By the way, big news, huh, today?
Go ahead.
Some big news.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Do the read.
Give the
people what they want.
The Vikings are hiring Browns Vice President of Football Operations Kwesi Adofo-Mensah as their next GM. Reports 4 years, $12 million, and unlike player contracts, that is all fully guaranteed. So great for him. The Browns will receive 2 compensatory third-round picks, one this year, one in 2023, and it leaves us potentially with an opening in the front office. And the Browns, I think this could become a regular thing here, coming off of Andrew Berry's staff. Glenn Cook certainly in the pipeline, got multiple interviews this cycle, but I think he has a chance to be a general manager in the next cycle. And so that's big news. That's big money for Kwesi.
Yeah, good for him. I'm thrilled.
It's great
for it.
for him.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of knew this was coming yesterday. Once the Bears made the hire that they made, that this was coming yesterday. So the news portion of it is, I think the big thing, and you were quick to be on this yesterday, was the dual third-round picks as compensation. Sure. That's big. So that's this year and next year. So it's big on our end of things. It's one of those things when you think of, obviously this year was disappointing for everybody, no question. And there are big questions that have to be answered this offseason. And they're ones that are going to take some time to answer and to kind of formulate. But the one thing that I always bristle against, and there's a – it's from an older fan, and I get it. They certainly retain the right to be able to say it and are worthy, and it's appropriate from their perspective. But this notion of same old Browns, it's not, because this is a front office guy in your front office, and there's two of them out there because Kwesi gets this job, as you mentioned. Glenn has interviewed for several jobs. These are really bright, up-and-coming people that the rest of NFL looks at this organization and says, I want somebody who's in there because I like how they're doing things. And that's not that. I don't have a recollection of that. You've been around the organization longer than me, but I don't remember anybody stealing front office executives from the Browns to go run other organizations. So that tells you the way that you're being run and the way that the rest of the league views you're being run.
No doubt, and it also, I think, speaks very highly of the quality of individual that is in our organization. And look, I remember interviewing Kwesi before, I want to say, the Jacksonville preseason game this year. I believe it's probably on your DVR. You can maybe check that out if you'd like to do that.
On Browns Live?
It was not on Browns Live.
Well,
it was on Browns Countdown. It was pregame to the preseason game.
I'm sorry. My DVR is so full of those two entities that I sometimes I got to catch up.
Yeah, archive. Go in the archives. Check it out. But I remember coming in. I had spoken to him before that many times. We talked. He came from the 49ers, and obviously, with my father's affection for that team and me growing up there, we talked about that for a little bit. But I remember always being so incredibly impressed by him. Not only his knowledge, his presence, his delivery, his very much reminding me of both Stefanski and Andrew Berry, and just the fact that he is just like unemotional in the sense that he's just trying to get to the right answers. And I would have the pleasure of talking with Kwesi on the sidelines before many games this season, and I always learned something in that conversation. I thought that he was very generous with his time, very generous with his thoughts, obviously incredibly an intelligent human being, and I loved talking with him. I remember saying to to PJB right after that interview, I'm like, this guy is going to be running an organization in no time. I mean, you just knew. It's one of those things you just knew that's what he was destined to do. And sure enough, now it is real. He's being compensated very handsomely, as he deserves to be, running the Vikings. He will be up there. And look, I mean, we already have done MVD for a time. We've done DLD. We've done
absolutely.
I mean, we've done so many of them from the Mall of America. And now with Kwesi there, you have to think that like we could be in line for a bump. I mean, that's what that's what it feels like to me.
I like what it's at. I mean, he certainly knows the product we put together, even more so.
He has great respect for it.
Great respect. The sad thing about this is, I was talking to somebody this morning about Kwesi, and we were talking about, what type of dude is he? All of this, and I said, I'm glad you have that experience, but he's been here the entire time of COVID. So, I don't.
You probably haven't.
I don't know him.
Yeah.
I don't know him. I haven't talked to him. I've seen him in the building every once in a while, but that's only been a recent thing too, to be back here, and we've been in and out, over the course of the last couple of years. But that's one of the things that's been a real casualty of this, and this is just from our perspective, and you're different because you still, do the other entities where you still get some of that, but a lot of that's through a screen even, is you don't get a chance to know people the way you did. Like Glenn predates that, so I know Glenn really well.
Yes.
And know what he's all about. But everything about Kwesi tells you that this was a matter of time, and you attested to his skill and his abilities very early, and how impressed you were by him. Many times on this show.
I'll tell you this. He would be, in my mind, if you take Malik Jackson out of it and you're just going to like football executives, he's the senior swag of the football side as well. Incredibly, very sharp-dressed man.
Okay, so that I haven't seen. There's an example of something I haven't seen. Senior swag.
Sideline stuff is sideline stuff.
Senior swag I see all the time, but I have not seen the swag.
His sideline stuff was tremendous.
Well,
he's a tall guy, too. I mean, I think he's a good 6'6". He's taller than me.
Wow. Yeah. Well, 4 years, 12, the swag can only...
It's only going to improve.
It's only going to improve.
Now we're talking custom alligators. He's got to have the alligators on his feet. Let's go.
Yeah. I mean, why not?
Could loan him some of your, I don't know if they'll fit, but you could, some of the Croc boots. I could loan him mine for my,
the Cayman.
From the Ponderosa, sure.
Yeah, probably be a tight squeeze,
yeah.
I would think. Did you see the hype video of the Bears' new GM showing up today?
No. A hype video?
Yeah, I'm not kidding. Have you seen this, Gibby?
I did. I feel like Simon's behind it.
Of course he is.
Simone.
Of course he is, because it's a bad idea. So of course Simone is behind it. You know, I mean, there's no doubt that he had something to do with it. So he shows up. This video is like
dark.
It's a hype video. Like it's
Yeah.
dark. It's in where's that? Is it Forest Park? Where do the Bears train? Something
north of Chicago.
Yeah. So wherever they train, they're at their training facility, obviously, and a white Mercedes S-Class pulls up, baller car. A gentleman gets out of it.
But he sits in there for a minute or two.
He does, like
You're
you
kinda
marinate.
what
And I
is
thought,
this?
well, God, this got to be Justin Fields, like saying, look, Bear fans, like we know it didn't go well, but we have Justin Fields and he's working. He's here working. Well, everybody else is vacationing. Justin Fields is here. I thought for sure it was going to be Justin Fields. So out gets out of the car, whoever they hired for the GM, and it's not somebody that's instantly recognizable. I'm going, who is this? I don't know who this is. And then he goes and gets a backpack out of the back, and he goes, all right, let's get to work. Okay.
I got it right
what does
now.
that even mean? Like, you're not going to go pump iron. Like, you're just going to go read some spreadsheets. Like, what are you going to
follow
go work on?
Zegura into the office tomorrow.
Yeah. Look at that. Are you watching?
I'm watching it right now.
It's weird.
Like, you can't possibly think that's a GM.
He doesn't even know how to put his foot down out of the car first, where they zoom in on the shoe, like Vince McMahon arriving in an arena. He drove himself. Yeah, he needs to have a driver in the situation.
that's
They
on
need
Simon.
to open the door, and you see him put his foot down.
Yeah.
And then they zoom in on, you're like, oh.
Right.
And then he's got to be wearing a nice shoe. And then he comes out, and then he reveals that it's him, and then he goes, let's get to work. So, yeah, I'm watching it now. He looks cold. It doesn't look like a pleasant place to be at that moment. And he's walking in, let's get to work. Okay. And apparently the Giants did one as well. They did a hype video. There were dueling hype videos. That's the buzz on the net. Did you see that one?
No, I missed that. So the Giants had a hype one, too,
Yeah.
had a hype video, too,
Yeah.
for their GM. Maybe NFL Twitter's just out of control, where we feel like we got a hype video GMs. I feel like you hype video players.
Can you let the guy get to work? He's got a lot in front of him.
How about this? All they both say is, let's get to work. Now, the Giants is only 12 minutes. It's him getting out of it's the same thing.
It's the same thing.
He's getting out of a car with
Is
a
it
bag
dark?
and walking in. There's a little bit more light in New York, and he walks into the Giants facility and says, let's get to work. That's it. I mean, they're the same. Again, you got to have the shoe down. It's the most important part of what's going on.
I got to find this Giants one.
It's 12 seconds. But they both say exactly, let's get to work. They're both involving them stepping out of their cars. Out of a Jeep. He's out of a Wrangler.
He's out of a Jeep versus out of a S-Class, so advantage Bears guy. No. No. Can't.
Just because you're wearing the gear today.
No, not.
And a
no,
Mercedes
just from this
quarter zip.
Not because of that,
Well,
but because, I mean,
It's hard to
just from a
separate that.
sticker standpoint alone.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
It's a look.
without dispute.
You-
And I like Jeeps, and I'm going to put the boys in Jeeps when they get older. I'm a big Jeep guy. But, yeah, I mean, come on. So there you go. That's where it stands. Get to work. That's the idea of that.
I don't even know what that means.
I don't know either. That's what I said. Like, it's not like it's Justin Fields.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, like Bears fans all jacked up. Oh, look who's here. Like,
Getting to work, that's your job.
that's the gig.
That's what
Yeah.
you've been hired to
That's
do.
why you go. That's what you do. You go and do that at that point.
Can I say something?
Sure. You're the franchise. What do you want to say?
Thanks, Goose.
No, that's you.
No.
No,
you,
I'm the meal ticket,
please.
not the franchise. This whole notion, and I don't know if you guys feel this way. Is it kind of played out like, let's get to work? We got it. It's all like it. I feel like at this point in the society that we live in, I think we're right to assume the people are gonna work.
Yeah.
And like,
yeah.
we want the results.
Yeah.
Like
That.
there he is.
Senior swag.
What?
That's results. That's legendary right there.
Let's go.
Let's go. See? That's it. You want to do hype?
That's
hype.
what you hype.
That's how you do
but
hype.
he would know how to get out with the
Of course
foot
he would
down.
know how
There
to
would
get
be
out.
Shot. PT and the team, they would know how to shoot that.
And it would be an appropriate vehicle for a let's go moment that he
Yes.
would get out of.
Right.
Nothing wrong again with this. It's just, there's certain
I think
swag
you should
that
be
he would
getting
get
out of a limo for this, though.
Like a stretch.
Yes.
Do people still do that? Do people still
Vincent
take
Kennedy McMahon
Well, I know
always gets out
he
of a
would,
limo.
but do you think that like in now that we have Uber and all this stuff, like do people still like get limos and get
I
driven
can't
around?
tell you
I
the
can't
last
tell
time
you
that I saw a limo.
That's my point.
I'll get a
driving
limo
around.
bus next Friday.
Of course
you are. Exactly.
My brother-in-law's birthday.
Of course you are.
That's exactly right. Like now, those happen in sprinters that are customized. Like they're just nice sprinters that have been tricked out on the inside, not into limo. But
yeah,
I'm
like
surprised you're not in a Hummer limo, Gibbe.
You sure he's not?
I don't know. What I'd like to see
Gibbe
in like an old school white limo that has the V antenna
the V.
on the back.
Yep.
You know, where you're so you can dial into a little 6-inch black and white television while you're cruising around.
I don't need any more than that.
Phone in the center console that you pick up, weighs about 20 pounds.
Yeah.
Hi, how are you?
The Bud Fox.
Yeah.
The Wall Street Bud Fox.
But I just think, going back to my original point, it's told
Yeah, right. You're going to work. I think it's just from the standpoint of there's probably so much pressure for these team social media accounts for content that they're just trying to come up with content is what it is. And it's
but
here's a tweet.
if you're the
Drive
Bears,
to
we got
results,
1,000.
or
if you're the Bears,
eye on results. Results oriented. How about
why
results?
not just say bear down?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Maybe have him shaking Justin Fields' hand when he gets to the door.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a moment.
Bear down. That's Arizona.
Maybe him parking next to Justin Fields and the two of them getting
Now
out
we're
at 7
talking.
a.m.
Now you got
And then you get like a
Nice,
Mega
strong-
Powers handshake, like, ooh,
Yeah. That's what I
brother,
would like.
let's do this.
Yeah. Now we're talking. Now you're on to something.
You're making jealous eyes at the Lombardi Trophy. Yeah.
That's what we need right there. That's it. We're starting to get some coaching hiring. Sean Payton with a great presser yesterday.
Really was.
It really was. It was fantastic. Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. You blew it, boys. We'll go into that. I have something I want.
Ridiculous.
I got something that I want to throw your guys' way and see how you respond to that from the Bond side of that thing. So we will get to that. We've got a mock draft from Daniel Jeremiah coming up in the program today. All sorts of other fun as we're also in championship week. Got a little higher, lower, better, or worse as well. So we're off and running on a first Friday. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland. Beau here for my friends at EOX Vantage. EOX Vantage connects core systems that don't talk, from reportings and analytics to insight and decision-making. You can gain a more complete real-time picture of your business. Eliminate Excel nightmares from business processes and visualize your important data in one place. You gain real-time insight to make data-driven decisions on performance through role-based visualization dashboards. With EOX Vantage, you can benefit from lower overall costs, better alignment between technology and specific business needs, scalability, ease of deployment, and management. EOX Vantage makes your data work smarter to move your business forward. You're all about growth, and your software should be too. And with EOX Vantage, your company is going to scale effortlessly. Check them out, www.eoxvantage.com, for more on that. Around the league, Sean Payton making it official yesterday that he is down as head coach of the New Orleans Saints. He says, quote, "I don't know what's next. It all kind of feels good. Television could be in his immediate future, though, as we mentioned this yesterday. The only certainty, although I wouldn't even say this is certain, but the only certainty, as he said yesterday, was he wouldn't be coaching in 2022, but who knows on that front. They would have to get compensation,
right,
if he did. And that's the case for the next 3 years, right? Because he's under
through
contract.
2024.
Yeah.
Don't you feel like he's going to do TV for a year and then he's going to go to the Cowboys?
Here's the problem with that, though. No network is going to give him the job that he wants for the cash that he wants for 1 year. Like, you're not going to give that type of investment.
So they're going to, like, force him to stay? People couldn't.
No, I'm just saying, like, you'd have to talk to him and say, hey, like, use the only one of those that I could see is, like, if he went with Michaels to Amazon, which is clearly a short-term thing anyway, or if he went with Michaels to ESPN. But, like, Fox isn't going to bring Sean Payton on unless they say, hey, dude, like, you're replacing Aikman. This needs to be consistent. Can you give us a 5-year commitment?
But no. The answer to that is no. He cannot.
Yeah. So if he doesn't, then
he's
you can't
do
do
a
it.
year
if you're
or two
Fox,
max.
If you're Fox, you can't do it. You can't do that. It's too big of a risk. I was talking to somebody about this morning. If you are the face of CBS, Fox, NBC, we're all old enough in our lifetime to remember that job used to be held by Peter Jennings, Tom Brokaw, Dan Rather, Walter Cronkite before them. That was the face of the network.
Yep.
And then after that, then it was Ted Danson on Cheers, or Jerry Seinfeld, or the cast of Friends, or the Bill Cosby on CBS. Like, those were the people, the cast of Dallas. Like, those are the people, TGIF, right? Bob Saget, those guys. They were the faces of networks. Well, that's all gone. The big evening news is gone.
Yep.
The big network show is gone.
Yep.
They're gone. So what's the face of CBS? Jim Nantz is the face of CBS with Tony Romo. That's what it is. Joe Buck's the face of Fox, the broadcast network, with Troy Aikman. That's it. Yep. That's the job now. So when people say, well, why are they making $20 million? Because when you work at CBS and you're going to sell the NFL, the guy, and it's your most valuable property you have, they're charging $2.5 million a 30-second spot this weekend. The guy who's walking in that door with you is Jim Nantz.
That's
and
right.
Tony Romo.
Yeah.
So if you're Fox, that's why I don't understand. Like, if I were Fox, why you're worried about pinching pennies on Aikman? Pay him $25 a year. What do you care?
That's what to me it feels like, why would they even bother? Why pinch pennies about it? Why get weird about it? Say you want to make as much as Romo, fine.
Done. Here you go.
Sure.
Here's 18. You can make $10 a year more than him. I mean, whatever it takes. Like, do that. Unless they have Manning waiting. That's the only thing, because he's the wild card in all of this. But, yeah, so Peyton could go to the league for a year. He could go to TV for a year, rather, or two. But I don't know if I were – to me, that seems like more of an Amazon or ESPN play, because they've been more short-term with their – and we don't know what Amazon's going to do, but they don't have the pressure of selling – Amazon has no pressure. Certainly not the pressure that these others do, where they're trying to sell the network to advertisers.
No doubt. I think that you look at these situations, and you're right in terms of the iconic nature of some of these teams and what they're trying to do and move around. Foolish to let Aikman go unless Amazon does something outrageous, right? But if Amazon's willing to do something outrageous, then I would have to imagine that would interest Peyton, unless Peyton loves just doing the thing that he did with Eli. That's the other thing. Maybe he just loved that. He's like, look, I told him not doing every game. Nobody really had a problem with it.
No.
We did, because
you wanted more.
It made it better on Monday nights. But he's the guy he is the looming free agent, right? He's the one guy that could change everything. But I'll tell you what, Fox is probably ruining the notion that they didn't pay up and do whatever they had to keep Charles Davis in their stable.
Yeah. I love Charles. I don't know if he could be with Buck, though, on A-Team, because I think you need to have like a pro. You know?
Like a name?
Yeah. Like a gold jacket.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of what that job needs to be when you think about fronting it.
Romo's not a gold jacket.
No, but he's known.
Certainly.
He was the face of America's team for a decade.
Correct.
So I mean, he's known you have to be able to transcend football to be this.
Yeah.
You have to be able
because
to be
of
known.
Madden.
Yeah, for sure, and because the people who do these jobs are ones that again, they're the faces of networks.
I'll tell you, a lot of guys that might be good at it. Your boy Steve Young, I think, would probably be pretty good at it. They'd much rather do a little studio pregame, postgame. It's a much easier life and commitment. And you can
wouldn't the Young? Yeah, I think he would be good at it. Does he not have an interest to do? He must not,
because
otherwise
he would have done it.
Yeah, they would just put him on it. Like he'd rather like go on the road and do those pre and post game little hits than do the.
Listen, I know just from talking to the Hoftoff, I absolutely love doing those Thursday nights, the pre and post. Like, couldn't have loved it more. I had the best time. It's a totally different level of preparation that you have to do. It's a totally different level of time commitment and production meetings and all those things that you got to do the game. And the game those things are fun, and they're built to be fun. The way that they're presented is, hey, come hang out with some absolute stars of football's past, Michael Irvin, Steve Smith, the Hoff, Colleen Wolfe is going to preside over this, and we're going to have a great time, get you pumped for the game, but also have a lot of fun, whereas the broadcast is still serious business. And there are more and more, I think, there are more and more critiques of broadcasts and broadcasters now than ever before.
Than ever. Yeah, it's an industry. The only thing from the pre and post game is obviously you're not having the eyeballs as you are on the game.
Of course.
The games are the eyeballs. So that's the one interesting part of that. So fascinating to see when he says he has no plan to coach in 2022. Like, if you're Jera, you reach out, right? And you say, you sure?
I think he wants to take what I kind of took from him is he wants to take a year off, but it was pretty clear he's not done coaching.
No question. He wants back in it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think if you're Mike McCarthy, this saves you a year. This buys you another year in Dallas.
Yeah.
Because I think Jerry will be Sean Payton. You tell me when you're ready to come back coaching, and I will be all in. Until then, we're in a holding pattern. But you're the apple of my eye. Always have been.
Yeah, and I think also from Jerry's perspective, though, every minute is a minute wasted if you're not getting better and getting closer.
Yep.
So there's a lot of pressure there with that roster, with Jerry's age too. Major League Baseball with this yesterday it went is the way that we thought. David Ortiz gets into the Hall of Fame. Nobody else did. There are so many hypocrisies of this. Among those, David Ortiz actually tested positive in 2003. It was an anonymous test, but he did test positive. Bonds and Clemens never did. I don't believe Sosa did either. In fact, those guys spent millions defending the fact that they didn't. Now,
Correct.
We all know that they did, but it wasn't legal. It wasn't illegal at the time. Nobody was testing for it. Look, you guys know the stories by now. It's nonsense. It's absolutely nonsense that baseball, it has a Hall of Fame where the all-time hits leader, the all-time home run leader, single season and career, and a 7-time Cy Young Award winner, which is the record, are not in it. If they're not in it, then you don't have a museum.
Harold Baines made it.
Yeah, it's a joke. It's a joke.
I mean, he looked good in shorts that year that they wore those for the White Sox, but
right.
He was a good hitter.
Right. Please. And then somehow it's okay with Ortiz. By the way, Bud Selig is in the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. He presided over all of this. All of it. Let it all happen. Turned a blind eye to all of it. It's well known in the 90s that teams were encouraging players to use performance-enhancing products.
By the way,
there's a story in the LA Times from 1995. Bob Nightingale, now does for USA Today, wrote a story about baseball being out-of-control steroid use that was happening in clubhouses, pushing players to use it. I mean, they were complicit.
Of course.
In every way.
When has baseball ever been hotter?
Never. Than the summer of 98.
McGuire and Sosa.
Never.
Never.
Not in our lifetime. I mean, in the 50s, whatever.
Sure.
Not in our
but that was when it was
a radio medium.
Correct. And it was basically the only thing in town, right? I mean, now it's never going to get back there. And I'm not saying the answer is steroids. I'm just saying that was the perfect storm. People do dig the long ball. And it was great theater. It was incredible.
And everyone profited off of it.
Everybody.
And everybody gets to benefit from it except for these handful of guys that are going to be held accountable. And it's garbage.
Garbage.
It's absolute nonsense. So here's the one I want to run by you guys. If you're Bonds and you know what you know now, and in the mid-'90s, because the story was always, the narrative around it was always that it drove him, because he was the best player in baseball, and it always drove him nuts, the amount of attention that McGuire and Sosa got. It was like, imagine if I do that. what I'll be capable of, because this is what I am without it. So imagine what I'll be when I become capable of. I start building muscle and trying to hit home runs. And then he became, for the kids out there, Barry Bonds was walked with the bases loaded and his team down 2 runs by Buck Showalter and the Diamondbacks. That's how feared he was. Like, no one's been more feared in the history of the sport other than Ruth.
Was he walking a season then?
Oh, my God. His on-base percentage, he has 7 Major League records, and 2 of them are the 2 most important, single-season home runs and career home runs. He has both of those, and he's out. So if you were Bonds, and you go back to that moment with the knowledge that you have now, where you've basically been in baseball purgatory, which is turning into baseball hell, because I don't know if you'll ever get out of it, in the 20 years since, would you still have done it? And again, I don't have a problem with any of it. I don't want to get misconstrued. Like, to me, he should have been in on the first ballot. But would you still do it knowing that this would be your future, but that you would gain incredible wealth, fame, you'd accomplish everything that you'd ever want to do in baseball, but that you'd go to purgatory as soon as it was over? Would you still do it?
I think they would. I mean, it's everybody knows that it's an outrageous decision by these writers to not have these people in the Hall of Fame. It's crazy. I'm looking at his numbers right now. I didn't have this. I would not have had this, that the year he hit 73 was the only year he hit more than 50.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he
remember
had
that.
I had some. So he goes 49, 73, 46, 45, 45.
Well, they stopped pitching to him.
Well, so he hit 70. The year he hit 73, he gets walked 177 times. The next year, 198, and he hits 46. The year after that, 148, and he hits 45. And then in 2004, he gets walked 232 times and still hits 45 homers. His on-base percentage these years, the year he hits 73, 515, then 582, 529, 609 the year that he gets walked 232 times. 609.
That's an all-time. Those are all-time records.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, before he even went to San Fran.
Yeah.
In Pittsburgh, 30-30 club.
Oh, yeah.
But, I mean, when
he's
you
a
look at his
400
body.
steals
52
guy.
stolen bases the one year.
Right. He was the best player. It was him and Ken Griffey Jr., and then Jr. broke down and Bonds didn't. But they were neck and neck. Those were the 2 best players in baseball at that time. But he's been vaporized from the sport.
It's ridiculous. I think it's ridiculous. 514 steals, 762 career home runs, almost 2,000 career RBIs. That's incredible.
What was his career batting average?
298.
Yeah. I mean,
by any measure.
By any measure. His career slugging, 607. I mean, I remember this just because it was one of those weird stats you remember McGuire's rookie year when he hit the 49. And, as a young A's fan, we had seen tickets, and I was all about it. His slugging percentage that year was 618. And I remember that, and it led the league.
Yeah. I mean, Sosa, I think, has 4 seasons of 60-plus home runs. 3 or 4 seasons of 60-plus home runs. And he's off now, too. He's vaporized, too.
Yeah, McGuire led the league in homers 4 times, 49, 52, 70. He followed his 70 with 65 the next year, which is pretty impressive. He led the league in homers 4 times, led the league in RBIs once, led the league in walks twice, led the league in slugging percentage 4 times, led the leagues in on-base percentage twice, did McGuire. Like, he absolutely should be a Hall of Famer.
So should Sosa.
Of course.
Sosa's got, listen to this, 66, 63, 50, 64.
Yeah.
That's 4 consecutive years.
And he led the league, 3 of those?
He led the league
twice.
Only twice, but never when he hit in the 60s.
Which is incredible.
Which is crazy. But
twice
this
in RBIs.
This is what was happening. But the problem I always had with it is, like, these guys arbitrarily deciding to be judge, jury, and executioner all on their own. And the crazy thing is the way that it's breaking down, it's only the baseball writers who have a say in this. It's many of the newer, because I couldn't find anybody on social yesterday who said, yeah, I didn't vote for these guys.
Yeah.
Not one. So I had Bob Nightingale on this morning, and I said, Bob, who are these people? Because the overwhelming of the new voters voted these guys in by 87% voted these guys in. But there's enough of the old guard that will not budge.
And they need to, honestly.
They got to be gone. Got to be gone. Like, for the good of the sport,
put them out
you got to
the
be
pasture.
gone. You're
Like,
done.
it's ridiculous.
It absolutely is. So, if you want to have a rule and say, okay, in 2004 baseball started testing, and if you get pinched in those instances or you've been suspended, like, you can't get in, like Alex Rodriguez, twice pinched, suspended for an entire season for cheating. Okay, fine. I don't have a
But
problem with that.
that's the
But
punishment.
that's known.
But that's also the punishment.
I agree with you. I would let them all in.
Yes.
But I mean, if you did it, then you're in. If you had the career to determine it, you're in. But at least that's something where you could say the idea of holding these guys where it wasn't even illegal in the sport accountable is crazy to me.
So Bond's all-time leader in homers, walks, intentional walks. The year that I mentioned that he was walked 232 times, he was intentionally walked 120 times. So he was almost intentionally walked once for every game. He played in 147 games that year. So he leads the league in runs in 92, homers in 93 and in 2001. Leads the league in RBIs once. That was also 93. Leads the league in walks. This is crazy. Leads the league in walks 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 12 times does he lead the league in walks. Leads the league. There's one year, I didn't realize this. I would not have had this. So he hit 73 in 2001. That year he hits 328 at the plate. The next year when he hits 46 with 110, he leads the league in walks 198, leads the league in batting average. He had 370.
I was going to say, I remember him having a 370 season.
He leads the league in on-base percentage, 582. He leads the league in on-base percentage 4 straight years and 6 of his last 7 years in the majors. He leads the league in batting average in 2 out of the 4 years, and then he sweeps these 3 categories 4 straight years. On-base percentage, slugging percentage, on-base plus slugging. Obviously, if you win both of those, you're going to win the third. He slugged 863 the year he hit 73. The next year, it's 370 and slugs 800.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy.
Case closed.
You know what's another thing that's
put him in. Be done.
Crazy, and maybe you know the answer to this? Why isn't there an all-pro team in baseball? This was the best team that you could have, and it doesn't exist.
There's not a baseball first team all baseball.
Nope.
There's the Gold Glove,
Silver
Slugger,
Sluggers, and then there's All-Star. Being an All-Star, that's, for example, you go to Pro Baseball Reference, that's what they list. MVP, Bond, 7-time MVP. Come on. Not in Hall of Fame. Yeah. Outrageous. Bond, 7-time MVP, 14-time All-Star, 8-time Gold Glove. So we did it all.
Jeez.
But yeah, there's no such thing as first team all. How is there not?
Yeah, that's weird.
Here's the best baseball team you could put together.
Basketball does that. They have
first
all
team
NBA.
all NBA, and the NFL's got it.
NFL's got it. It's weird baseball doesn't. Probably because these same writers. Well, we've never done it. We didn't do it for Tris Speaker. Can't do it for Barry Bonds.
I enjoy
it's the same guy that didn't vote Albert Belt MVP the year that he hit 50 and stole 50.
Oh, I don't want to move the mic. Your old baseball guy voice is great.
Yeah, I don't know that would be the old baseball guy
but
voice.
I enjoy it.
I think you're on the right path.
I think you're on the right path. It's like when Kayla,
thought is right.
When Miss K imitates me, if she's saying something that I said that she thought was ridiculous, it's always in like some crazy, like, I sound like I'm from Texarkana. And I'm like, I don't sound like that.
Not from the South?
Yeah.
Continue to not be from the South.
I'd love to. I mean, right now, I certainly love to be.
Yeah, you would. All right, coming up next, Daniel Jeremiah's Mock Draft 1.0 will tell you where he has us going. It's a familiar name, so we have that to look forward to as well. Bucky Brooks, it's Mock Draft season, kids. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Waste Recycling, family owned and operated. Whether you join them as a customer or as an employee, you're going to become part of the family. Visit Rumpke.com to learn more. We've got some more mock draft fun. Daniel Jeremiah, mock draft 1.0. How many do they get? Is it like 6?
Yeah, I mean,
I think it gets as high as 7. I don't know. Some of these guys go into double figures.
Just keep throwing it out there.
Well, then that would mean higher than 7, Gibbe.
Yeah. Keep throwing it out there.
I'm talking about
your average.
The
person.
big ones are 7 or 8.
All right, so Daniel Jeremiah is one of the ones you pay attention to. And he has us taking Travon Walker, the edge out of Georgia. He writes, Walker has as much upside as any pass rusher in this draft. He did a lot of things in Georgia's system, which limited some of his pass rush production. He's a physical freak who could rise into the top 10 after the NFL scouting combine. Us taking an edge at 13, Z. What say you?
I get it. I mean, even if you were to bring – you need 3 of them. I think we figured that out pretty well this year. You need 3 of them. It makes sense. But listen, a couple things jumped out at me about this one. Number 1 is the pick at number 8, which is Treylon Burks.
The kid out of Arkansas.
As the first receiver taken.
Yeah. Isn't that 2 of those that have had that? Wasn't there another one that had him as the first?
Brugler had him to us, but second behind. Wilson went 10 to the Jets.
Oh, okay.
And then one of the other ones we saw didn't even have him go in the first round.
Kuiper, I think, didn't have him in the first
round.
Yeah.
So he goes 8. And listen to what he says about him. Burks is a taller version of A.J. Brown.
I mean, it's bold.
And I've heard him compared to Deebo Samuel as well.
It should. If you're going 8 overall, you better be.
So if they draft him, though, does that mean that they are planning on moving Calvin Ridley? What does that mean for Calvin Ridley? Just a question out there.
Or maybe they'd want all 3 of them.
Maybe they would.
Brooks, Ridley, and
Pitts.
God knows they're going to try forever to give Matt Ryan a chance to succeed.
So what do you this guy, you know more probably about Travon Walker than I do. You need 3 edges even if you had Clowney. And you saw our team, this is the third defensive end was a starter. Tech McKinley played every single pass rushing situation there is. So we are good up front. Doesn't surprise me. Now, you got, obviously, we're talking about Cinco being on the ball. He's got him going 18.
Yeah.
18, so he'd be on the board. Third receiver taken, Drake London, 16 to the Eagles.
He's a big guy out of USC.
Yes.
Drake London's kind of a Mike Evans type. I don't mean he's going to be him, but I mean from a body type standpoint.
Sure, but I mean.
That's kind of what you're looking at.
I like that.
I find it very difficult to believe. I mean, who knows? We have no feel for this. When we get to the comment, we'll have a better feel about how things are going to go, or by the time I don't think we'll be there, but whoever's there, you'll have a little bit better feel about these things. But the idea that we have objective 1, improve the pass game.
Yes.
So then objective 2nd, 8th was Jadeveon Clowney.
Yep.
Now, defensive tackles moved into that because of, some of the things. So I just don't see a scenario. It's hard for me to imagine a scenario where those receivers are on the board and we're like, yeah, we're good. I just don't. It seems.
Depends what happens in free agency. That always changes things, right?
But that's tough. I mean, we've gone over that. Like, it's hard for free agent receivers. There's just not a lot of track record of big impact.
Don't disagree with you. Look, I believe that you are correct. The only thing that we would be taking at 13 is a receiver. But if it weren't to be a receiver, as of now, the only other position I could even possibly think of would be a pass rusher.
Yeah, because it's probably the second most important position in football. So you have something. Now we don't have to worry about this anymore. We got somebody next to Miles for the next 5 years. There's nothing to worry about.
On a rookie deal.
So there's the benefit of that. So I get that. I understand his thinking. But if he who shall not be named was there and to pass, that would be a hard thing to deal with.
It would be if you got a stud pass rusher from Georgia. I mean, I think people probably feel pretty good about that. And then the question becomes, do you think – because we're going to need to draft an edge, right? I'm just playing devil's advocate for this scenario.
I get it.
Do you think that in the second round you're able to find a quality receiver? I mean,
Probably.
Let's not forget A.J. Brown was a second-round receiver. I mean,
absolutely. I just think with Andrew Berry's track record of drafting and our front office's ability, like if this played out this way, you're getting a dude at receiver. And you watch the NFL in these playoffs, and you look at the dudes.
All right, let me throw this at you. We make this pick at 13, okay? We now have 2 3s this year and 2 4s. What if we take our second maybe a 3 and a 4 if we needed to.
Yeah.
And we come back into the end of the first round, and then you get Jamison Williams.
Yeah, sure. But I think we need a number 1.
Yeah.
And I don't think Jamison Williams can be that right away.
Well, certainly not, but it's just
and
I don't think.
No, I like it. I like the idea of I think that makes
there.
sense. No, that does.
I'm
just
with
think you need a number 1 dude.
I'm starting to get intrigued by it. This is where Daniel Jeremiah has this Burks guy going, and Dane was all over him too. This guy all of a sudden maybe makes me feel like maybe there are 2 superstar receivers in this draft.
There might be more. They're very different guys. A lot of people like Drake London. By the way, that's where Bucky Brooks has us going at 13 is Drake London, the wide receiver out of USC. He writes, perhaps adding a supersized pass catcher with extraordinary length and leaping ability can unlock Baker Mayfield's full potential. London's a former stud basketball player with a knack of winning 50-50 balls on the perimeter. So big physical. That's the deal with London on that front. So he has us going that way. He shall not be named going 10 to the Jets. Chris Olave, there's a guy maybe trade back in and scoop him up because he's as precise a route runner as you're going to have. Then you'd have everything sorted. Then you'd have the Higgins-Chase situation. You'd have them both at that point if you did that. My hunch is by the time – I don't know. Do both these guys have Pickett as the first quarterback? Kenny Pickett, Denver at 9?
Yes.
I wonder if – I have a feeling Sam Howell's going to get his way back into the mix, the kid out of North Carolina.
The quarterback.
Yeah. He had – new receivers, no running backs. First half of the season when everybody was watching him wasn't great. But I do wonder if by the time you get to the draft, there aren't people that fall in love with him a little bit.
Yeah, Pickett at 9, and then in the Jeremiah, he's got Malik Willis from Liberty 31.
Yeah.
To the Leons.
Yeah, it seems like the Ole Miss kid, Liberty, and Pickett.
Yeah.
And everybody else.
I don't know that necessarily Howell will be the first one off the board, but I have a feeling people will fall in love with him over the next couple of months. By the time it comes,
someone's going to fall in love with one or if not 2 of these guys.
Yeah, and he's got a big arm. He's a leader. Had a lot on his shoulders. I think people will like him a lot. I could see him. I could see his stock going up.
One thing I'm just going to throw out there to contemplate, it'll be interesting to see what happens. Is the 12th pick of the draft, which I'm guessing would mean in the second round, the pick right before us in the second round would also be held by the Minnesota Vikings.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no doubt at this juncture, Kwesi has a pretty good idea of what we're interested in.
Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah.
And he holds the pick right before us.
Yeah.
Which could create a trade situation. Obviously, if he's saying, well, let us slide back with you. We're not taking this guy here. Give us some little sweetener. Make sure you get your guy. And say, please.
Well, he has leverage any way you slice it.
Right.
Right? Because of the institutional knowledge. So
right.
He would have knowledge. He could either hey, if you guys don't want to come up here and get this, I might trade it to somebody who does. So
I think he would be kind to us. But I
think he would too, but this is not show friends.
No. They're probably not interested in a receiver.
No, I wouldn't think. I think that big picture wise, Minnesota and Vegas are 2 real wild cards in the NFL.
Because you don't know what their quarterback situation is
going
to be.
And you don't know what they want to do. Are they at the point where they say, boy, these are 2 really good guys. They're not good enough to be in the highest echelon, but they're really good. You can win with them. They've had success. But there's also a ceiling to it. And we're better off tearing this thing down to the screws and building up and rebuilding. Those are the 2 outfits in this league right now that I think can change the way other teams view things. Because if those 2 quarterbacks are now in the market and those 2 franchises are now doing the rebuild, that changes a lot. I think that's a key to a lot of this.
Of course, and now you got a new person. You're going to have new people making those decisions. What
Both
may
places.
have been the thinking a month ago is maybe not the thinking anymore on those guys. Look, I'm 100% with you, just so you know.
No, I know, buddy.
We need a star receiver.
We need a dude.
Just look at the playoffs, man.
Every team in there.
Everyone's got a dude.
Deebo with the Niners.
Most of them multiple dudes, by the way.
Yeah. Deebo, Kittle, Ayuk has even been fine for them. But, the dude is Deebo.
Yes.
Cooper Kupp just won the Triple Crown, so there's your NFC.
Well, also stay there, though. Kupp, Woods when healthy, Beckham, Jefferson. There's a ton of, any of these guys could get deep.
Yes.
Right? Even Higbee, he's not anything to fear, but you get the point. The Rams could, when they were healthy, they had 4 guys who could get deep on you. at any point. That makes you defend the whole field.
That's
now
the
go to
point.
the AFC.
AFC, come on, Bengals, Chase Higgins, Boyd, and then the Chiefs, Tyreek Hill, who's a wrecking crew, and then Kelsey, who's probably the best pass-catching tight end maybe ever.
Yeah. So you have to have dynamic players in the field. You have to in the pass game.
Did you see that video that the NFL? That's the difference, and then that's him. That's incredible. So there's a video, NFL.com. I retweeted it yesterday, and it shows Travis Kelce after the screen to Tyreek Hill. He says, look, if they defend us like this again, the seam is going to be wide open.
Mm-hmm.
And he was supposed to be running an out, it looked like, or whatever. Mm-hmm. And so you kind of hear Travis, like, right before the snap is like, okay, and then it's going to be there. And Mahomes says, do it, Kels, do it.
Kels, do it. Yep.
Out loud, which in my mind says, if I'm the Bills, like, let's go make sure he's thinking right now he's throwing the ball to Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
Let's maybe guard him.
Yeah.
Like, I've even as the edge rusher, I might have just said, I'm not even rushing. I'm going to go hit him or
bail.
Go back with him, run around with him.
Right.
So he goes and he runs like he's sticking out and then comes right back to the seam, and it's wide open, obviously. But that wasn't what the play was called to do.
No.
They just improvised it from the situation that was going on, their ability. And I go back to when we played them in week 1. He ran a route for a touchdown against us that wasn't the route that was called. He was supposed to break in, and instead he stopped and pivoted back out because he knew from what we were doing that's where it was going to be open, and he and Mahomes were able to read that. And so it's interesting that in some cases, freelancing gets criticized, and then in other cases, freelancing is what allows them to be good, because when people think they know your route concepts, and then all of a sudden you do something different because you know what they know about your route concepts and how they're therefore going to play it in the rules of their defense, so you now know where the open spots are. That makes sense. Yep. Go to the open spot. I'm going to find you.
Yep.
And that won them that game.
That's the familiarity.
Of course.
That you have.
And the freedom and the knowledge.
And the ability. That those two guys both have.
Yep.
So it's the perfect storm of all of it. Yeah, I mean, he said when he was on with Manning's, he did that. Kelsey was saying that, a lot of times they just freelance routes.
All the time.
All the time they do. Yeah. So, and Rodgers mentioned that with Devontae Adams when he was on with the Mannings as well. That a lot of times they would freelance things. So that's what you got to. That's what the great teams are able to do. That's what you see that with Chase and Burrow. They do that in year 1 together. Of course, they played at LSU together, but still. OBM, Ohio Business Machine, preferred copier provider, your Cleveland Browns. Avail the X's and O's for your office. Call 216-485-2000. Visit ohiobusinessmachines.com. An interesting story from Todd McShay on Patrick Mahomes and how he has changed the league as we start to zero in on the conference championship games. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. For a team of injury lawyers dedicated to every client every day, call 1-800-ELK-OHIO. Elk & Elk is a proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. Here's an interesting piece on ESPN.com from Todd McShay. We have not heard from Todd much recently. He had some health issues and was largely
it's been a while.
He wrote this piece about how Patrick Mahomes has changed the way he scouts the quarterback position. And I remember the story you told at the Combine when you had because I wasn't working with you at the time when Mahomes was in the draft. But the next year we were there, and we had Greg Cosell on, who we love. And I remember him even saying at that time, like he wasn't sure what he was.
So it was the hardest evaluation, which is actually the quote right here. Is McShay said, "I can confidently say I've never had a more difficult quarterback evaluation than Mahomes because of that vast difference." And what he's talking about is no consistent mechanics, things that you just weren't sure, is that going to translate? Can you do that at the next level? Off balance, off platform, multiple arm angles, multiple feet angles, multiple body angles in terms of where he's throwing to his target. And they didn't know. And Cassell said, I don't know. And he was great because he was never predictive. He goes, here's what he does well. Here's what concerns me. I don't know what he's going to be. He said he could be the greatest quarterback in the league, or it could just not work because he can't get away with that level. I don't know.
Here's the thing that jumps out to me is where you were talking about the arm angles and all of that. And the first person I ever heard say this was Chris Long, the former Eagles and Patriots and Rams defensive end. And he was saying, he said this quote, and it stuck with me. He said he throws a football like a baseball.
Yep.
And so that's
Short
arm
stuff.
strength.
Yep.
Right? That's arm strength to be able to do that, to be able to throw the football like a baseball. But then I thought about the next level of it. And, of course, Patrick Mahomes played baseball. Dad is a professional baseball player. You think about Josh Allen. There's a story going around this week about Josh Allen, how his parents, they kept trying to incentivize them to move to a part of California where he could play for like a Mater Dei or that he could play for a team like that, and he had no interest in it. He stayed and played in his community team. His parents didn't let him do Elite 11. They didn't let him specialize. So he was averaged 30 a game in basketball, and I think he played baseball through like 90 playing baseball. And then was a really good football player. And he took this route of junior college, Wyoming, and eventually getting to the Buffalo Bills. I would imagine that this comes back to the issue of, and then the other side of that is the quarterback cyborg situation, where you're at quarterback camp from the time you're in the 7th grade. Josh Rosen would be an example of that, who was basically trained to be a quarterback his life.
Todd Marinovich.
Yeah. Well, he's the most infamous of it, certainly. But a lot of these kids are that. A lot of these Texas kids are that. They come through and they're at Elite 11, 7-on-7. They're at, they're quarterback trained. Bryce Young, the kid at Alabama right now, is that, where it's been known since he was in the 8th grade. Tua is that, trained to be a quarterback. These guys aren't that. Allen's not that. Mahomes is not that. Herbert is not that. These are physical gifts from the Lord.
Yeah.
There's no other way to explain it. They are physical freaks of nature, and from an arm strength standpoint, that's not something you can work on all of the platforms and the perfect form and all of that stuff. But if you can throw a football through a tire from 70 yards, then
so what?
Who cares?
And that's why there's a line in here, and he goes, this is what McShay says. I distinctly remember starting Mahomes' final evaluation, watching 3 games on tape right before the Combine. His tape was unlike anything I'd ever seen. He'd take the snap and immediately drift backwards for no particular reason and sling sidearm and off balance. And you'd cringe until you saw the throw connect for a perfectly placed vertical shot. And so that's – remember we talked about it even like it's like Madden. It's the way you play Madden. Madden, you drop back to get back so you could give yourself as much time as possible, and you just keep dropping back. You don't just stand there and you just keep dropping back, and then you sling it, and because it's a video game, it works. But he brought that to real life. And your point on Allen and Herbert, these guys are incredible specimens. They're incredible athletes, and it's the NFL. It's a given, I think it should be anyway. When you're a quarterback who struggles in structure, then you can't play in the game at all.
Yeah.
But these guys show that it's their ability to do things out of structure and to be accurate out of structure that makes them impossible to defend, because all of them can also take off and run. Mahomes like, oh, Allen, you had all the scrambling. Let me run for 49 yards on the opening drive just to show you that I can. Then guess what? Now you have to commit somebody to kind of watch me, and now I'm going to pick you apart. He plays the game like a video game. It's nuts. And his body, like Allen and Herbert are monstrous guys. Mahomes is like 6'2", 220, and his body's kind of an odd, not odd shape, but it's like.
He's not chiseled.
No, he doesn't look like Allen or Mahomes or a Cam Newton or anything like that. But he's a tremendous athlete, and he's got an unbelievable ability And the other thing is, I know how smart he was on the whiteboard and all of that stuff. But he has an unbelievable ability to throw the football exactly where he wants to, regardless of what the rest of his body's doing.
Yeah. And that's just a gift.
It's a gift.
You have that or you don't. He is, to me, from the Mahomes perspective, I mean, it's like watching a young LeBron James. We just don't have there's no reference point to it.
Yep.
There's no reference point of 6'8", 260 and moves like, Jordan and is that nimble. There's nothing. There's nobody who'd ever done that before LeBron did that.
Correct.
And that's how I feel about Mahomes. Like, I've never seen anybody play the way he plays. But I don't know that it would change the way that I would scout football, because I would say that he's the unicorn. There's going to be there are guys in this league right now who think they can do the stuff he can do. Guess what? They can't. It's exposed on a weekly basis on Sundays. You go, what are you doing? You can't do that. He can do that. You can't.
You can't.
That's the beauty of Joe Burrow, because he's the other one in this conversation. You think about these young AFC quarterbacks. Joe Burrow knows exactly what he can do and what he can't do, and he has the answers to the test. So he's got to go about a different way, because he does not have a howitzer. He's a good athlete. He was a good basketball player. Remember him hitting those threes, like how clutch?
Of course.
Like great athlete, dual sport athlete,
Hashtag
all of
athlete.
that. Yeah. But Burrow knows what he is, and he doesn't try to be something he's not. Other players in the league try to do this stuff, and they're exposed, because this can't be taught.
A man has got to know his limitations. And there it is. And for Mahomes, it feels like at times watching him play the position, he doesn't have any limitations. There isn't a throw that he can't make. And his ability to throw the football, you could talk about Allen and his ability to run in his size and, his cannon, and Herbert's got a cannon too. Nobody, and now Lamar Jackson made one throw from, 30 yards behind the line of scrimmage against us. That was a crazy play.
Right.
But Mahomes consistently throws the ball at times like 12 yards behind the line of scrimmage.
Yes.
Because he just drifts back and then just chucks it.
Yeah.
I
think I always come back to that Chris Long line, because it's the best way I can use to describe him. He throws a football like a baseball.
Yeah.
From any arm angle, like a shortstop, all of that. Nice car coat. Please.
Jeez. I mean, what are we doing? Got his G's a P. He's ready to go.
Jesus.
Yeah, that's
flexing.
Right.
Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
It's only 2:15.
It's first Friday, though.
What are you, right?
I mean, you got that to look forward to, which is nice. Enjoy yourself a cocktail.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do a chocolate Manhattan tonight.
Oh.
Yeah.
Break that down for me.
A normal Manhattan. So you would do a third of sweet vermouth of your choice. I like a Carpano is one that I like. 2/3 of whatever the amount of liquid you want would be the bourbon that you would do. And then what I always have on hand is a Aztec chocolate bitter.
So that's what I was wondering where the chocolate came from.
So that's where it comes from, because a lot of people will want to add some sort of a cream chocolate. No. We don't do that. You don't do that. You don't need
a society.
We live in a society. That's right. We don't add cream to drinks. So that would be the way to. That's what I'll do tonight, I think.
You never, even after like a great affection for a film like The Big Lebowski,
you
didn't go through a White Russian phase? Come on.
I think
we all did.
My favorite thing about the White Russian, first of all, there was another one out there that was called a Colorado Bulldog, which had so it was the same, except instead of, does a White Russian have soda in it, or some soda in it, or nothing? It's just
I'm pretty sure it's vodka.
Vodka, cream, and Kahlua, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there's one that's that, and then it's the Colorado Bulldog version of that was that, and then Coke, and it tastes like a chocolate milkshake. Truly.
Huh.
I'm pretty sure that was it.
With a little effervescence.
Yeah, gives you a little bit of that. But that kind of tastes like a chocolate milkshake. But, of course, I had that after watching Lebowski.
How could you not?
And there was few things more satisfying than that, pouring that cream into the brown liquor and getting the mix. That's sweet. Yeah.
And if we were like the dude getting it out of his mustache after he'd get it, nice sip.
And I never had a mustache.
Me neither.
So I wish maybe I should make one tonight just for the
because
nostalgia.
You got enough. You got enough there now that you could get.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, get that little
it's a nice
pullback.
Yeah, I think that would be fun.
It would be.
Yeah. All right, coming up next, how about this from the NFC Championship game? The Rams are changing their ticket policy. We will get to that and a little higher, lower, better, or worse as well. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Frigid outside, nice hot bath or shower would feel amazing. Why not transform your bath with a custom bath that's going to feel like a spa?
Oh, baby.
Oh, you better believe it. The Bath Authority is going to take care of you. They'll make that a reality, a fraction of the cost of the competitors as well. The Bath Authority is Cleveland's premier bath and shower remodeler, expert factory-trained installers. You can call now for $500 off your next custom bath or shower remodel. I encourage you to give them a call at 216-220-8399 or go to bathauthority.com. It's where affordability meets quality. They got the largest selection of bath projects. They're all made in the United States. They're going to change your bath from outdated to outstanding. They do tub to shower conversions too. So if you need one, this is where you go. Superior Products, expert installers, 216-220-8399 to thebathauthority.com, where affordability meets quality. So the Rams do not have a home field advantage.
No.
It's been this way for a while. It's not as bad for them as it is for the Chargers. You okay?
Mm-hmm.
You were peering something over there.
Yeah, I was.
Really getting a real look at something.
Well.
I couldn't tell where you were.
I was just looking out to see if there were, like,
It was a real
rising
close eye on
tides,
things.
if there were floodwaters around. Because
White Castle.
strange things going on.
Strange things. Yeah. Well, it can. I missed it. I can't wait. Can we take a break so I can hear the news?
Move forward. Absolutely not.
Why? I know. I'm more interested in this than anything I'm about ready to say. The best. Who's the guy who said the best part of the show is the show? Is talking about the show.
Right. Yeah,
that guy.
Right. He's right.
All right. Well, I look forward to that.
By the way,
this
update
is why
on
we need to have the cameras.
I hate like 8 more minutes that I'm not going to know. I hate
update
this.
on the crash victim. I'll try to give you a if it happens again. But
okay.
Our spill victim yesterday is doing great. Totally recovered.
My wife was driving around while that was happening. She goes, I didn't know what happened. Like, it took you guys too long to tell me that she was okay. And I said,
well, it was a lukewarm thumb at first.
Yeah. I said, well, you were far more concerned with it than Murph was, who
did nothing.
Who did nothing.
I told him that today. I saw him today because I didn't know what to do.
There was a
so nothing.
There was a conversation.
You don't know.
I don't know. Help her up. Dry up the water.
I said Monica's on her hands and knees.
What did he say?
Cleaning.
He goes, I didn't know what to do.
So
I'm like,
it.
huh?
Okay.
There's
ignorance is bliss.
in the moment.
But even
if
you don't know what to do, there was option A, help her up.
Help her
option
up,
B,
clean the
clean
water.
the water. Option C, maybe even try to go to work on the scuff mark.
A lot of options.
Option D,
Yep.
nothing.
You froze in the moment. It's okay. It happens. And she's okay.
There's
So
a whole
that's-
species of goat that freezes.
Is that true?
There is.
You've never seen the frozen goats?
No.
Yeah.
I'm interested.
They're little goats, and they prance around, and then as soon as they get scared, they go onto their back with all their legs in the air and act like they're dead, frozen. And they will fall over.
They're pretty
It's hysterical.
spectacular.
Oh, I got to
In
find
the
this.
break,
so
you
I
gotta
have this,
YouTube-
and then I get this reveal.
YouTube frozen
I can't wait
goats.
for this break.
What a
I'd like
break.
to throw it right now, to be honest. I want to hear all of this. I need to get
Okay.
the details on
All
all
right.
of these
Well,
things.
you
By the
have-
way, you'll view goats.
Bum,
You'll view goats very differently once you get into Ozark season 4.
Yeah.
I'm only 2 episodes in, but Ozark season 4, there's a use of the goat that's a little different.
Interesting.
Than you would have
I'm
thought.
scared about that, as I feel like I should.
I was
be.
always scared of
Probably
goats when I
should
was a
be.
kid because of the images that you would get of the goats unfairly, I think. Anyway, the
Well, on
Rams
the break,
are.
I feel like we've uncovered a new trend, a new fashion trend that I wasn't aware of.
I still didn't get a real.
I love
okay.
joggers, and I've been really heavy in the jogger game lately. Love it, very
Love it.
comfortable
Yeah,
pants,
sure.
especially the Lulu jogger. It's just it's a delightful.
It's a
pant.
delightful pant. Yep.
But this is more like a mid calf pant, which felt
A mid calf jogger.
it was just a pant, and maybe it was I couldn't tell, but the pant ended.
Like I feel like
Mid-calf.
when you say that to me, like what jumps into my head is like Johnny Lawrence in the original Karate Kid wearing sweatpants, like that style of sweatpant. Is that what we're
It
saying?
was a
Like
pant. I feel like it was a
pant.
khaki, but it just kind
Just
of
a
ended.
high.
That's what I was saying. I didn't know if
Just
there-
shut it down.
Yeah, the waters
Okay.
were rising.
I'm gonna have to get a look at that.
Yeah.
I may have to do it.
I like that.
may
I
have
mean,
to do a
listen,
lap.
I've been working on my calves. Maybe it's time for me to bust it. I'll tell you what, nobody's got better calves in the business. Ask Monaco, Scotty Monaco. I've talked about him. He's the Thursday guy.
Everybody
Of
knows
course,
that.
duh.
Monaco.
Yeah. On his Twitter, it says majority owner of the Cleveland Cavs. Guy's got the most ridiculous calves I've ever seen.
Just
Like,
naturally.
yeah, and he just all flex them, and they're like, it's like it looks like Texas is on the back. of his
Koulis
leg.
has that. Casey Koulis has that.
He's got that.
He's got.
You guys
And
pay
they're
a lot of
ripped.
attention to
calves are
calves.
just
Well, because also that's his like party trick. He can moonwalk and then he hits you with some calves.
Luminaries.
Oh, the big
Yeah.
L.
Big L.
Mhm.
All right, so the Rams are going to change their ticket policies for the 2022 NFC Championship game in hopes of keeping 49ers fans out. Gibby, what are they doing exactly? What's their plan? How are they going to keep them out? You going to say if you're not from Los Angeles, or what are they going to do? You can't resell your tickets?
Let me. Yeah,
Yeah,
give
you-
me 1 second
You
on
can't.
that.
You can't resell your tickets. That's got to be it.
It's
gotta
amazing
be,
what they're saying and what they're doing.
I mean, everybody would want to
I
do this,
feel like
but I
this
don't
is
know how
illegal.
you're gonna. How could you prohibit it in the end unless it's like, like whoever bought the ticket originally has got to match up from an ID standpoint to who's walking in. But are you going to do that?
So no, this is what they said on Ticketmaster.
Okay.
Any Rams tickets to this game that are being sold on Ticketmaster can only be sold to residents of the greater Los Angeles region as via their credit card billing address at checkout.
Okay, but that still doesn't. I mean, there's a million ways around that. In terms of you could have somebody from LA buy them and then transfer them to somebody
Obviously,
who's not.
yes,
There's
there
a
are
million ways
workarounds,
around.
but
And
that's-
honestly, the workaround would be very profitable for the people who are going to do the workaround. You could be an LA person who doesn't care about the Rams at all, which my guess is there's a lot based on the fact that they have to do this. So you buy the tickets and then you place them on on another site and sell them that way to 49ers fans.
StubHub, though, will not do that. We believe that access to events is important to fans everywhere.
Good.
Geographical restrictions on fans are ineffective for the simple reason that fans of any team can live anywhere.
Yes.
Especially a team like the Rams that has a nationwide fan base. Fans deserve to have the flexibility they need to buy and sell anywhere, which is our entire focus as an open marketplace. As partners of the NFL,
Yep.
we've ensured that NFC Championship tickets bought and sold on StubHub, no matter what zip code the buyer is in, will be accepted. Good for you, StubHub. Bravo. By the way, since the year 2019, what is the record between the Rams and the 49ers?
This is a stunning number.
I think the 49ers have won every time, haven't they?
You would be correct, 6-0.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't know that, but it feels like
including a win by Nick Mullins.
Yeah. I didn't know that, but it just when I was thinking of it, I thought, well, it
so
feels
Kyle's 6-0 against him head to head. And there's a great article by Benjamin Solak that I was reading. The Hoff is devouring right now and going through the tape and like literally sending me on this play they did this and on this play they did that and they need to do this and how much he loves Kyle. But
is he going to the Super Bowl?
Yeah. Of course, he's the Hoff.
Are they working it?
I don't know if he's working it, but he'll be. I know he'll be there for perhaps the festivities.
Yeah,
the lore, maybe special guest of Kyle
festivities will be tough. Like, do they do festivities across the state lines? Do you do it in
go to Nevada?
Go right into Nevada, do the festivities, then go back.
I mean, it's not that close to Nevada.
Well, no, but you have access to planes,
helicopters.
And such. Yeah, we've all seen Swingers. It's a long drive.
4 hours.
Yeah,
I'm told. I don't know where I was there, but if Shanahan wins this one, it will be 7-0. And now it's true even at 6-0 because of the year, but that he's beaten him with 3 different defensive coordinators, 2 different quarterbacks, the only constant being McVay. And it's one of those where, and he makes the point in this article, which is I think is fascinating, that McVay has a tendency to fall in love and become very predictable with his concepts and his play calls, and that his offense is often, every year, the efficiency in the second half of the season is not what it was in the first half of the season, every single year.
Well,
whereas Kyle's go
I love
the other way.
I like
look at it. Let's go.
Love that from Nick. That's great.
Looks like maybe there's some blueprints in there.
I love the idea of blueprints.
I do,
No
too.
one's ever pulled something out of one of those tubes that isn't blueprints, and you feel like you're real important.
It's either blueprints or a sweet poster.
One of the two.
Can't go wrong with either.
It's all wins.
Do your kids have posters all over their rooms?
Yeah. Yeah, they've got, not all over, but they have them. They've got a lot
posters?
of banners. Yeah, there's posters. A lot of banners.
My kids had a bunch of fatheads. Do your kids like fatheads?
We did. They had there was an Avengers one in Beamsy's room, like there was Avengers. But then as he got older, he's like, Dad, I think I want sports. So then he wanted, some of those guys.
Does he have? Is there a Larry Bird? Anything Larry Bird in his room?
Bootsy's got some bird stuff in his room.
He does.
Yeah, he's big bird guy, big defender of bird
at
all costs. Yeah. So
that's crazy. By the way, imagine a kid in the year.
That's the beautiful thing of
2022 with Larry Bird merch in their rooms because of NBA 2K. That's why those games are important.
That's why it's great, because it teaches them that history of it. Yeah.
Benjamin Solak, 1:30 on Friday.
Love it.
Well, there you go. That'll be very fascinating stuff. Good job out of you, Gibbe. All right, we'll do a little higher, lower, better, or worse coming up next. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. alone means no one's going to hear your amazing in-game analysis. And the same
Sad.
is true when gambling. Keep things social. Never gamble alone. It's one of the many helpful, responsible gambling tips you'll find at keepitfunohio.com. Time for a little higher or lower, better or worse, presented by the Ohio Lottery. Hello, Gibby.
Gibby.
Hi.
Yep.
Gibby, big
Sorry.
news. You
Just
landed a
trying
Big
to-
L luminary for Friday's show.
Friday show's looking pretty stacked all of a sudden.
Yeah. Paul
I think
DePodesta
tomorrow's going to be
will
a
join
little
the show
stacked
on
too.
Friday. How about that, Beau?
Fun. I look forward to that.
Yeah.
Same.
We've had a couple slow days. Sorry,
Yeah.
guys. Just how
Gibby,
it goes sometimes.
Sometimes you call it glorified babysitting. We call it big B's. Just being big.
Oh,
Just content
you've
creators.
you've earned
That's all
some
we are.
paychecks this week, guys.
Content
Thank you.
creators.
There's no
big
question.
C's.
Oh, content.
So we're big
creators.
B's.
We're
big
curators
C's.
of content.
Love the word curator.
Isn't it great?
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty good by you. That's a good name.
Yeah. Big C curators.
Big C curators. So we got
Content
A, B, and C.
creators.
We've got them
I
all
like
set then. Just like your boy in ABCs. Always be closing.
A, B.
Coffee.
Always be
is for
curating.
closers.
That's what I say.
Only.
I say
Always be curating. That's true.
Yeah.
Same. Same.
Oh, higher or lower, presented by our great friends at the Ohio Lottery. This week, the challenge for you both is to put together a list of the top 10 remaining players in the NFL's Final Four.
All right.
All right.
Let me do this.
Okay.
So we can do the order. You tell me if I missed one. I have 11 that it's tough. I have 11. So Mahomes, Hill, and Kelsey from the Chiefs. Burrow and Chase from Cincinnati. Kupp, Donald, Ramsey from the Rams. Deebo, Kittle, Bosa from the Niners. And I'm, these are skill guys because Trent Williams isn't on here, but he probably ought to be.
You can put Trent Williams on.
If you want to make it even more difficult, then we could add him
head.
too because he's the best left tackle in football. So there's that too. Like, is there anybody you would add to that list other than those I mentioned? And Williams is one that I just mentioned.
Well, I somehow have more than that. So I've got here. You cross mogenate. I had Mahomes, Hill, Kelsey, Chris Jones,
Okay, I didn't have Chris Jones.
Burrow, Chase. I had Jesse Bates.
I didn't have Bates or Jones in terms
Okay.
of top 10. I didn't.
Okay.
They weren't.
These are
considered.
just
They're
people
both
in
great,
consideration.
Yeah,
Stafford, Kupp, Donald, Ramsey,
and I didn't have Stafford,
Deebo, Kittle, Bosa. Okay.
and then Trent Williams would have to be.
Yeah. All right. So that gives me 15.
So I have 12 to consider,
Okay.
and I still think it's.
Are we going
it's brutal if you're
I
going to
kinda-
try to do.
Do we have to go
Like,
1
who's
to
out?
10 in this situation? I think we always have to go 1 to 10, right? Because
You just want to start with number one?
do
Because
you think we
Mahomes.
have to?
I
Yeah.
feel like yes.
Mahomes, one, who somehow will not be all pro or Pro Bowl or anything. Patrick Mahomes,
Yeah.
one.
Okay. I'm going to go Aaron Donald, 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, that being said, like if I was redrafting these teams, I wouldn't take Donald 2. I'd take Burrow 2.
No, but that's because quarterback,
But-
sure.
Right. 3,
Just 3 Cooper Cup.
I don't know
I
how
mean,
it
he just
can
won
be.
the- he just won the Triple Crown.
so I feel like he would have to be 3. But I mean, like him or Tyreek, and then Kelsey. It's just ridiculous. So much talent. All right, Cup 3,
Yeah.
fine.
Tyreek.
I understand the Tyreek, but is Kelsey the better player on that team?
He's the less important player, I think, because Tyreek Hill is a cheat code. Like
What he opens up.
He opens up all of it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a combination of him and Mahomes. But I mean, you think about the punt return, the play where he waved at people, and then the screen pass. If they have any receiver in the National Football League whose name is not Tyreek Hill, none of it works. He's one of one. Whereas Kelsey's outstanding, but like Kittle could do a lot of that stuff too. Different, but good. Gronk could do a lot of that
Like,
stuff.
what would Darren Waller put up
Waller with
in
it.
that role?
Correct.
But
Whereas Hill,
Kelsey is special.
and
Let's
I don't,
not.
And you said yesterday he would have been last year he would have been your offensive player of the year. So
Yes.
this is not disrespect to Travis Kelsey. We have
He's probably the best
tremendous,
pass catching tight end ever.
probably ever. But Tyreek Hill is just, I mean, just a cheat code.
Yes. I'd go Hill there. I might even go Deebo at 5. I mean, the record when Deebo is involved is insane.
See, the crazy thing with Deebo is, like, if Kyle had Jamar Chase, would he do that?
Maybe.
Right. I'm not taking away from him. I'm just mean, like.
And it's hard to do, like, to isolate just pure talent versus what they mean to their team. Like, the Niners aren't here without Deebo.
Correct.
At all.
Right. And obviously, quarterback outweighs all of this because Burrow is Burrow. So that's the hard thing there. I don't have a problem with Deebo. Is Deebo more important to the 49ers than Nick Bosa? Is he better? Is he a better player than Nick Bosa?
I don't know that they're. I think without Nick Bosa, obviously it's gonna be tougher for them to get the quarterback. But I still think that they can win. Like right now without Deebo, I don't know that. It
feels like he's their entire operation.
Yeah,
I think he's the most important non-quarterback left
right now
to his team's success.
Yeah.
The way that they're going right now.
What's amazing about this from the Niners standpoint is, so we put Deebo at 5. I mean, then you got to get Kelsey and Burrow and Chase, and I mean, then you could get maybe to Nick Bosa or to Trent. I don't know.
We got Kittle too.
Kittle's
had a very quiet.
Yeah, I mean, Chris Jones is a monster.
Postseason.
Chris Jones is a monster. Yeah.
Interesting. I think your top 8 are pretty clear. Right, that it's some order or combo of Mahomes, Donald, Kupp, Hill, Deebo, Kelsey, Joe Burrow, and Chase. And then we could argue for Ramsey, Nick Bosa. I mean, there's a reason the Final 4 teams. They're good.
They're really good. Yeah, they're really absolutely loaded. Yeah, you could, I agree with you on those 8. Donald's the only, obviously, non-defensive player in the 8.
Yep.
But you're talking about Trent Williams, who's the best left tackle in football. A lot of people think Ramsey's the best corner in football. Nick Bosa's on his way to a gold jacket, the same with Kittle. We're not even really considering Stafford. You did, I didn't, but we're not considering him.
I know,
and he's critical. I know. Jesse Bates is awesome, and Jones is a beast.
Yep. If you had to go for the final 2, would we do Ramsey?
At number 5, do you have Deebo?
Yeah, that's fine.
Who do you have at number 6?
I had Kelsey.
I probably went Burrow.
I had Burrow 7, Chase 8.
Yeah. So I went Burrow, Chase, Kelsey, but you could go Kelsey, Burrow, Chase, or whatever.
Right.
Like any combination of that. And honestly, after you get past Mahomes and Donald, the rest of it you can argue based on circumstances.
So who do we want to be the final 2? Ramsey? I feel like Ramsey's got to be on this list. And then is it Nick Bosa in terms of what they're going to mean to these games?
Are you shortchanging Von Miller and the year he's had?
No. Not with these guys. I think Trent Williams is the other one that's a big deal.
Yeah, he is.
I mean, that's a big deal. I think PFF had him as their highest graded player.
He's pulling.
And now they got him in motion.
They got him going in motion.
Yeah, I mean, Ramsey's all pro, like all of that. So I think you could do Ramsey. You could do Ramsey, Bosa, and feel pretty good about yourself. Yeah. As the last 2.
That's what I had.
And you're leaving out. At that point, you're leaving out Kittle, you're leaving out Trent Williams, you're leaving out Chris Jones.
Stafford.
All of those guys.
Yeah.
Man.
That's a lot of talent leaving out.
That Rams, we only have 10 spots. It's a lot of talent in. I think that it's interesting. The one of these that are the most, let's do this. Isn't it without question the team with the most pressure is the Rams by 1,000 miles?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's not close.
And McVay's been owned by Kyle. I mean, there's so much at stake.
You gave up so much to get Stafford. They've given up so much to trade for all of these guys.
All of them.
Whether it's Ramsey. I mean, they don't have any first-round picks. They give up first-round picks left and right.
Don't need them.
They don't have any left. We don't need them. So far, okay, it's worked. They would be able to play in their home stadium in the Super Bowl. I mean, it's all on them. They play at home. I mean, it's every single thing. It all falls on them. I mean, the Chiefs, this is their – if they win, they'll be playing in, their 3rd straight Super Bowl? It's their 4th straight AFC championship game. Playing in their 3rd straight Super Bowl.
It's incredible.
They're not going anywhere.
No.
They're the same. Plug-in guys around. I mean, heck, if you're them, you could just draft the fastest guy in the draft every year and try to – just so that you have a backup for Hill whenever that wears out.
That's what
just keep doing that. Mecole Hardman, they keep doing that. That's what they're going to do. They'll just keep adding to it. Cincinnati's not going anywhere.
No.
There's no pressure on them. This is house money for Cincinnati.
Yeah.
It's house money. They're ahead of schedule. They're not going anywhere. Their best players are in their mid-20s. They have cap flexibility. They've drafted really well in recent years. Like there's nothing there.
Yeah,
Kyle's on
you
house
got
money
Burrow
too.
for 3 more on a rookie deal.
Yes.
You got Chase for 4 more.
Right.
You got
They have to
Higgins.
pay any of these guys.
Higgins was a second-round pick.
Second.
So he's only a 4-year deal. So you got him for 1 more year?
But they have space.
He came in with Burrow.
Yeah.
He's got 2 more years.
Right. No, they're not going anywhere. And the 49ers it's house money for Kyle. I don't know. He doesn't view it that way. I'm sure he feels pressure to win a Super Bowl. Feels like he probably should already had one. But like he's got the future set up. I still think the 49ers, you mentioned yesterday Pedro with the Brady stuff. I think they could be a player for Rodgers if he says that that's where he wants to go.
A little news from the league real quick that just has come in that I think you'll find interesting. Michigan defensive coordinator Mike Mcdonald is leaving Michigan to become the defensive coordinator of the Baltimore Ravens.
He was there, I believe.
He was there.
He was there. So
He
he's
was
going back. But, I mean, he's leaving Harbaugh's staff.
To go to his brother's
To go to
staff.
Harbaugh's staff.
John let him go to go to Michigan to save Jim. And now
Jim's
he's
letting him
going back.
go, which means, don't you think that means Jim is
I don't think
does
there's
that have
a
any
landing
impact?
spot for. No, I don't think there's a landing spot for Jim. I think he's no seat at the table.
Jim would like there to be.
I think, yeah.
And there's-
With all of his wishes, he wishes that there was. I just don't think there's a seat at the table for him.
pretty incredible, though, to let him go.
Well, he had just brought back. There's a Michigan man who was the defensive line coach at Notre Dame
Okay.
that they just signed to go back to Michigan and coach. So, I mean, I think that's probably
think
the way
nothing-
that could
nothing
go.
to see.
I don't think it's
Okay.
I don't think it's a situation where there's smoke in terms of Jim Harbaugh.
Okay.
I mean, he's begging people to interview him, hire him. No one's interested.
Sad.
Yeah.
To be loved. To be loved. What a feeling. To be loved.
It's the Rams. That's a lot of talent, man. That's a lot of Hoffs. Who's a Hoff on that list? Mahomes. Donald, Kelsey,
Hill.
Kupp's getting close.
Ramsey.
I mean, Cooper Kupp's getting pretty close.
Ramsey. And then you got other guys.
That other
you'll
guy's
have
just
to
really
see.
young.
You
Yeah,
gotta
just
see.
really young. But trending that
Stafford.
way.
If Stafford wins the Super Bowl.
Stafford's getting an opportunity here. Who's like the other sport equivalent? Who are the other sports equivalent of Stafford, where you're in purgatory for your whole career? Like Garnett probably jumps to mind with
KG.
Minnesota,
I like that. That's a good one.
where he was, in Minnesota. They get to one Western Conference final, and the Lakers took care of him pretty easily before he went to Boston and won it. But there's not that many where there's a guy who's universally thought of as a really good player, consistently loses, and then goes to the perfect situation.
Would it be
oh,
like
he's good.
if Mike Trout ever ends up getting to go to the Yankees or
He could have. He just chose not to. Like Trout chose to continue to play in anonymity.
I wonder why he did that.
I don't know. $40 million a year living in Manhattan
but
Beach
to go
and
put on the pinstripes and like become another Yankee legend, I feel like it's a pretty big deal.
I'm with you. Like it's probably one of the most disappointing things that's happened in baseball is the fact that he didn't go play somewhere where he could be seen more, because he's going to play his entire career in a closet.
Yeah. Some guys
How are
don't
they-
want that limelight.
How are they going to be that way with him and Ohtani though?
All the money's in those two guys. I mean, they've been largely terrible.
Yeah,
Trout's
crazy.
entire-
With great players.
Yeah, his entire run. I mean, there's worse places to be really, really wealthy though than Orange County.
That's right.
That's pretty good. But yeah, I mean, complete anonymity. Do you think here's one for you. You think if Mike Trout was walking down the street without
You say it all the
anything?
time. No, zero.
No.
Nothing. That's what I
No.
think too.
He might look like an athlete of some kind.
Oh, for sure.
Hey, he's
But
got
I don't
the
think anybody
build,
like,
he's a
hey,
big
that's
guy.
the greatest baseball player of the last 20 years.
Yeah.
I don't think that's happening. Yeah. There's a lot of talent in these games.
There really is. And again, for those people that think that first game is going to be some kind of the Chiefs are just going to run all over them
No.
and blow them out. At the beginning of the week, I might have thought, the Chiefs are just playing at a different level.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, the Bengals have nothing to fear.
They just beat them
3
weeks ago
They have nothing
after
to fear.
being down big early. They came back and beat them. Like they can score with anybody.
Yeah.
They can score with anybody.
Yes, that's
this is the lesson. You got to be able to score. Jim Irsay's right. Period.
Yes.
You got to score the football. Touchdowns. They drafted Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase does for them what Tyreek Hill does for the Chiefs. They threw a receiver screen to Jamar Chase. He went 60 yards.
Yeah.
One guy missed, gone.
Yeah, you need
that guy.
You got to be able to score. You got to be able to score. You've got to be an elite passing team to be able to be successful and have a chance to play for a Super Bowl coming out of the AFC in the next decade. That's the facts. It doesn't matter about anything else. You've got to be an elite passing game that can go shot for shot with anybody.
Yeah.
Because you're going to have to most likely defeat definitely one, but probably two of Mahomes, Burrow, Herbert, Allen.
Yep.
Every year.
Every year. They're going nowhere. Neither are we. So much more to come.
That's right.
Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland. Beau here for my friends at EOX Vantage. EOX Vantage connects the core systems that don't talk, from reporting and analytics to insight and decision-making, gain a more complete real-time picture of your business, eliminate Excel nightmares from business processes, and visualize the important data in one place. You can gain real-time insight to make data-driven decisions on performance through role-based visualization dashboards. With EOX Vantage, you can benefit from lower overall costs, better alignment between technology and specific business needs, scalability, ease of deployment, management. EOX Vantage makes your data work smarter so you can move your business forward. You're about growth. Your software should be too. Check them out, www.eoxvantage.com. We're back tomorrow for more fun.
Yeah.
The next level coming up next.
Let's go.
Cleveland Browns Daily. 850 ESPN Cleveland.